welcome or welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're closing out another budgeting period, and this period is May 15th through June 14th of 2024. All right, so as you know, I am on a financial freedom journey, a debt-free journey, and a core part of that is using the zero-based budgeting. So basically, every dollar that comes into our household gets assigned a job, and we track everything coming in and going out. So this video, I will be going into the income and expenditure for my family for May 15th through June 14th. So let's get into how we did. All right, so you are looking at my overall budgeting. So we are paid semi-monthly on the 15th and on the last day of the month. So I break my budgeting period into two portions, from the 15th through the 31st, and then from the 1st to the 14th of the following month. All right, so I already gone through my two budgeting periods, and I did my check-ins and my updates. For both periods, you can see that able to budget income for both periods sits at 0. So let's go through how we did for the overall month, budgeting month. All right, so let me zoom this down a little bit. Yes. Okay, so for income, we brought in $6,094 in combined income. That was the budgeted amount and the actual amount. For side hustles, overtime, or gifts, we got $350 for that. There was no bonus. Refunds for the portion of the cell phone bills that we are not responsible for is $150 that we got, and I transferred $422.75 from my emergency fund, and from my savings I transferred $932.29. So the total amount of money that passed through our household for the budgeting period May 15th through June 14th was $7,949.04. All right, so let's move over into our expenditures and our budgeting categories. So for housing and general expense, which includes rent, utilities, cell phone, groceries, toiletries, car insurance or medical copay, prescriptions, and life insurance. I added pest control last budgeting period because that's going to be a new line item in our budget. I will not go through the entire line item since I already did that and I don't want to waste your time. So I'll just go over the highlights and the totals. All right, so I'm gonna start with groceries and toiletries because for the overall month it's showing that $69.27 was overspent. All right, so that over expenditure is coming from the May 15th through 31st budgeting period, where I budgeted $60, but I ended up spending $163.83. For the second budgeting period, I was able to keep $34.56 that wasn't used towards any groceries. All right, so even though the $69.27 line item is showing as over expenditure, that was able to be offset by other categories within the housing and general expense category, or the overall budget as we go by. All right, so the total amount that was budgeted for housing and general expense for the month was $4,271.04. I actually spent $4,225.89. So even though the line item, like I mentioned before, groceries and toiletries, was overspent, for that category there was $45.15 that was unspent for the entire month. So that is the amount spent is 53.16% of our total income coming into the house for the month. All right, so moving along, For savings slash investment, there was no much activity here. So this calculation here is zero that out because there was no activity there. All right, so the only activity in this section is the transfer to the expense cushion. So from budget period 1, there was $12.44 left over that was left in the expense account. And for budget period 2, $45.31 was left over and was left in the expense account as well. And that $45.31 I transferred as a rollover. I used as a rollover to my June 15th budget. So if you watch the June 15th budget, you will see that this $45.31 was transferred in. All right, so for the month, $57.75 total was left in the expense cushion account. All right, let me just clarify the $57.75 because even though $45.31 was the only amount that was transferred into the June budget, that's because this $12.44 got used up somewhere along in the bills, paying of bills. Okay, so let's move along to personal and discretionary. No activity was done for the month for my budgeting month, May 15th through June 14th. Moving over to my debt section of my monthly budget. So for vehicle number 1, $488.38 was paid. That was the budgeted amount, or that's the monthly payment amount. So monthly payment was made for both cars. For credit cards, I budgeted $674.19. I paid $673.35. So that's a difference of 84 cents unspent. For personal loan, which I rounded up just by a couple cents, it's $1,242. And for personal loan number 2, $766.32 covered. So I budgeted $3,632.77 for debt, which includes cars and personal loan credit cards, and we paid out $3,631.93. For this period, I wasn't able to cover any extra debt payment, so hopefully for the next budgeting period I will be able to. And also, given that I am closing out, or we are in the last budgeting period for the second quarter of 2024, hopefully I'll be able to do some extra debt payment so I can close some of the credit cards, so that I can approach quarter 3 with less credit card debts, because my aim is to get my credit card payments down as much as possible by the end of the year. Okay. All right, yes. So moving along to my miscellaneous section, subscription was the only line item that I did some activity on. I budgeted $25 for subscription, and I actually spent $33.47 on subscriptions. All right, so that's a difference of $8.47. Difference of $8.47. Yes, that's correct. For budget period number 1, when I did the budget, there was $20.33 that was not spent, that I put in this line item that I call did not budget. And for that, portion of it was used, hence the reason there was $12.44 left over and in the expense cushion account. All right. I think I am going to, no, I think I can leave it as is. I was thinking of just merging did not budget with the expense cushion, but I think I'm going to leave it as is for now, just in case I have some money left over when I'm budgeting. I can put it here in the event there's any occurrence. So I'm just going to leave it as is and see how it plays out for the upcoming budgeting periods. All right, so for miscellaneous, that's 0.42% of our income. And for debt, that was 45%, 45.69% of our income that went to debt. All right, so we were able to meet all our obligations for the month. There is no over expenditure that we weren't able to offset, which is good because I prefer to be able to offset the over expenditures, even though I had to go into my savings account to do that for the second period. But you know what, it is just what it is because our budget is just a plan, it's just a guide. And the good thing is I was able to find the money to cover some of the expenses. Hopefully the next month or this current month is going to be a better month for us. So all right, okay, so thank you all for joining me on this budget recap. Just remember that as you go through your own budgeting period, your own experience, there will always be some wins, there's going to be some losses, but it's all a learning experience. And also remember that the journey to financial freedom, the journey to debt freedom, it's not always going to be smooth sailing. So continue budgeting, continue making a plan, continue assigning every dollar that comes into your household a job to do. And I think that it will get better over time. As we progress, it's going to become second nature to us to really plan our money and to get to understand the money, our spending and our spending habits more as we go. All right, so if you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment and let me know. I'd love to hear your story, or maybe even if you can offer some tips based on your own experience. I would greatly appreciate that. So again, thank you for joining me on this budget recap for May 15th through June 14th. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. And remember, again, leave a comment below. Let's get interactive in this little community. So until next time, remember to stay on top of your finances and keep chasing that financial freedom and debt freedom. It is within reach. All right, so see you in the next video. Bye.